If you look around my office, you might realize I have kind of a love for dark twisted cartoons. And a lot of that may be because I grew up with a lot of dark twisted cartoons. Now, I'm not talking about the ones like Batman or ones that were meant for older kids. I'm talking about the ones that were meant for little kids, and they probably should have been made for little kids. And I loved the hell out of them. I enjoyed how much they scared me. I loved how every time you got through one, you felt a little tougher. So I'm doing a series reacting and reviewing them. We're gonna analyze how creative they are, how dark they are, and if the dark twisted tone was warranted. So join me in taking a look at some Dark Toons. What happens when Darkwing Duck thinks his daughter is dead? That's the happy question they start off with in this one. Time and Punishment was released in 1992. It's my all-time favorite Darkwing Duck episode I'm very excited to look at. Let's take a look. Darkwing Duck, of course, was on during the Disney afternoon. It was one of my particular favorites because it was probably the only Disney show at the time that had a superhero that was also an egomaniac. In any other universe, he would probably be the villain because he's so full of himself and it often gets in the way of him achieving his goal. But because the show was so funny and they could write him in a way where he was still sympathetic, and even though he was usually doing it for the wrong reason, he was doing it for the, glory and fame and such, he was still very likable. And one of the great things about it too is because he's a comedic superhero, you can do satires of other superheroes, which you will see later in this.
No, I work nights! You should have been home and in bed hours ago!
He, of course, has an adopted daughter named Gosselin, played by the late, great Christine Cavanaugh, who you may also recognize as Dexter and Chucky, just a slew of voices.
God would have missed the scene where the chainsawing cannibals begged for mercy from the slimy mutant slugs.
And again, at a time when Disney didn't always do that great kid characters, they could often be very annoying. Gosselin was very, very funny and very much a part of the show. She wasn't just the kid that always had to be saved. She saves the heroes a lot of the time, and does so with some very funny, very relatable dialogue, especially if you're a kid. You really related to Gosselin.
We're the crime fighters. You are the obedient daughter who stays put.
And of course the great Jim Cummings as Darkwing Duck, who I found out improvised a lot of the I am the noun that verbs your other noun.
I am the batteries that are not included. I'm serious, Gaz. If something happened to you, I don't know what I'd do.
So moments like this show he's an incompetent but still a caring father, and again, that's a sweet moment, but you'll also find is going to lead to some very demented stuff in this episode too.
The time top's all charged and ready to go bye-bye. Do you realize what this means?
You got two classic villains here, Megavolt and Quackerjack, played by Dan Castellaneta and Michael Bell, who I just found out was Duke from G.I. Joe. Again, that really shows you the range that many of these voice actors have.
Ion spitting jump ropes, particle beam fuzzy bears.
And Castellaneta as Megavolt, I always thought sounded like Krusty the Clown if he survived the electric chair.
Micron solar cells, zillion-watt light bulbs with lifetime guarantees.
And a lot of the show, like I mentioned before, is sort of paying homage to certain superhero tropes, and even these two, you notice you get kind of like a Joker vibe or a Live Wire vibe from Superman. I'm not even sure she was around yet, but there's definitely always an electric villain somewhere, someone that can do some of the electricity. So again, they're not direct rip-offs, but they're definitely taking elements from very famous superhero tropes to kind of make their own. Even the city of St. Canard has a very Gotham City look to it, but honestly, this is one of those architectural designs and shows that does not get enough credit. This is just a fantastically designed city because of how simplified and condensed it is. You sort of have these little buildings at the bottom and then just this cluster in the middle that just seems to keep building on top of each other, literally building on top of each other, and I just love it. It's a wonderful design. If you saw that silhouette, you would know exactly what city it is.
The future awaits!
So the baddies use this top time machine to travel into the future, and Gosselin literally gets roped into it.
The Duck of Doom prepares to come!
It's well timed. So here they are in the future, and everything looks a little different. It's a little bit more like a giant prison. And you'll already start to see references that might look a little familiar, like the blimps over this very gothic-looking city. Very much a callback to Batman.
Oh no! It's too late.
And suddenly Darkwing's vehicles look a lot more military and a lot more threatening, and the majority of this is a throwback to The Dark Knight Returns. And Darkwing's face makes it onto everything, which they already kinda had before, but now he's legit angry and aggressive and mean and wants to be scary, so you have these wonderfully over-the-top designs that have sharp teeth and red eyes, but it's a duck as well, and they're so funny. I'd also be really shocked if they didn't get some of these designs from the Bat Duck episode of Tiny Toons. His Duckmobile has a very, very similar look.
I am the jackal that gnaws at your bones. I'm not finished.
I love stuff like this. I love someone that's just so aggressively mean, but still has this sadistic, playful side too.
I am Dark Warrior Duck. Maybe a year in the pen will teach you to use a crosswalk.
Again, his design heavily influenced by Frank Miller's Batman, but also by Judge Dredd a little bit. You sort of look at the shoulder pads there and how gigantic they are, and how super hung up he is on the law. I mean, you know that has to be a reference.
Maybe Dad's just having a bad day.
And I love all these constant explosions because he hasn't gone after another criminal. It's the same guy, so he's just blowing this dude up or doing whatever he's doing just because of jaywalking.
Duck's even crazier than we are.
Extreme parking violation.
He did it.
I love also that these two aren't being arrested because they're super villains, but because they parked in a no parking zone, which is on top of a building, so it kind of goes without saying. You got Gosling going to the old hideout, which is on top of a bridge, which I thought that's a great place for a superhero hideout. I was wondering if anyone ever done that at that point. I don't think they have. And she finds Launchpad, who tells her what happened.
I tried to get him interested in his work again, but it was no use.
So I like there is kind of a legit tragedy to this, that this super harsh ductatorship, if you will, came from because he lost his daughter, lost the will to fight crime, and then just completely relapse and decide nobody else is ever going to go through this again, but overcorrected. Again, this really has echoes to when Batman lost Robin, and he won off the chain as well. So for your 90s Disney superhero comedy to go from your hero becoming a villain because he lost his daughter and he's trying to do right, but he's actually doing worse, they're weirdly kind of complicated ideas for a kid to watch. And I really like that. I feel like this is stuff you didn't usually see in Darkwing. Even though it's a really good show, this was kind of stuff they didn't usually tap on that much.
He said I was too soft on crime. Just because I thought we should arrest crooks before giving them the electric chair.
How often do you see a Disney afternoon show go that dark?
And I thought this was gonna be hard.
How dare they deface my face?
And I guess this scene is edited out in some countries. I can't imagine why. Just your likable main character literally firing a missile at his daughter, trying to blow her up. I don't understand it.
My little angel is back. Oh,
So this is another little twist I like. We're a little over halfway through the episode, and he finds her. He finds his daughter. You think things are gonna turn around and she's gonna teach him the error of his ways, but not exactly.
So, how do you like your uniform?
Oh, I don't think this is gonna work out.
Again, very Miller inspired. I mean, that's right off the comic page. Of course, there's a great punchline to it too.
Dad, I can't move.
Okay, so it needs a little tailoring, so sue me.
A possible Christmas Story reference there. Her arms are out, she can't move. Just a little more mean-spirited. So as you can see, she's not changing him at all. He's very much trying to bring her into his world now, making her a sidekick, fighting crime with him. Again, I feel like it so easily could have gone the other direction where she shows up and he turns back to good again. But no, they keep him a scumbag for quite a bit. He even has an opportunity to go back in time and set things right when they find the time-traveling top there, but he has no interest.
So that I, Dark Warrior Duck, will never even exist?
I guess.
I don't think so.
I mean, think about this. They're cutting to commercial with the hero threatening his daughter, and he's not under a spell or an evil clone or anything. It's just him. Again, kind of a ballsy move for the Disney afternoon at the time. And this leads to some of the funnier moments when he talks about what he's going to do with the time machine to go back and make it so just crime's never even a thing.
Go back to ancient Babylon. Coveting wives, death. Stealing grain, death. Being cranky in the morning, death.
Again, good timing on this. Really good pacing.
I'll go back to the beginning. Hold it right there. Not another inch until we get a few rules straight.
Come on. That's hugely funny.
What all these people do to get locked up?
Lawyers, plumbers, rude supermarket clerks, cartoon producers.
Not sure if that's a stab at themselves or maybe one of the higher-ups wouldn't let him get away with something.
Who's that?
She flunked DW in penmanship.
Well, at least he has some sense of justice left.
I like that too. Gosalyn now is supposed to be the moral center of the episode, but she's still in character. She's like, oh, throw the teacher in jail, that's fine. But everyone else, that's not fair. It's very smart to still stay in character and not lean too much towards your message.
Inside, you're still Darkwing Duck, and you're still my dad.
Shit, he just pulled a gun on his own daughter, the title character of this Disney show, man.
You never cleaned your room, never helped with the dishes, never did well in school.
Boy, I wouldn't have lasted a millisecond in this world.
I just can't do it.
So, there's your way out. He doesn't pull the trigger, he drops the gun, but still, man, for your lovable main character in a Disney afternoon show to hold the gun about to shoot his kid, that's pretty hardcore. So they travel back in time, the crooks are caught, she reunites with Darkwing, and there's not much more after that. They hug, and it's nice, but he doesn't really question that much, and she doesn't say that much. They just sort of get out while they can, because I think this was mostly an episode for really mean-spirited dark laughs. And that is Time and Punishment. It's not like one of the darkest cartoons we've seen on here, but I really think it's funny, and I think, again, for a Disney afternoon show, especially Darkwing Duck, I mean, they keep it pretty light on there, to kind of go this mean and this cynical, and especially with the satire of comics that do go even meaner and darker, I think is just a load of fun. I really love this episode. I love the writing in it. I love the way the machines are designed and Dark Warrior Duck is designed. There's just something so funny about seeing Darkwing Duck point to someone and just say, the chair, give him the chair. It's just so wonderfully mean-spirited. So I gotta know, did you see this episode growing up, or did you see it later in life, and what'd you think of it? Did you catch on that it was also a parody of, like The Dark Knight and Judge Dredd? Did you get those vibes at all? Were there other comic references that maybe you saw in there? Did you think it was too mean? Was it weird seeing Darkwing pull a gun on his daughter, or did that just make it all the more funny? Let me know what you think. Hey everyone, if there's any particular cartoon you want me to look at as being very dark or twisted, leave it in the comments below. Again, I'm not really looking for movie scenes or cartoons meant for teenagers or older. I'm talking about ones meant for little kids, but still scare the shit out of you. Whether it's an old cartoon or a new cartoon, let me know what you want me to look at.